Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful Friday and a good end of the week. we're at the end of the week, looking forward to the weekend. And I look forward to seeing some of you, hopefully more of you, in church on Sunday. So the devotional today, how can you read when you can't even see? Now this is a story about a young man. It's very cool. Even a 16-year-old can change the whole world. Louis Braille did, and Louis had been blind since the age of 3. When Louis Braille was a small boy, he used to spend lots of time in his father's saddlery shop. He made saddlery. There we go. One day, Louis snuck into the shop by himself at 3 years old and tried to copy what he had seen his father do, cutting leather with a sharp knife. Now, I can already tell you, that was bad. He's 3 years old, and he's playing with a knife. Don't do that, okay? If you're using a knife, you ask your parents. The knife slipped, and Louis struck himself in the eye. That would hurt. Eventually, somehow, his other eye became affected also, and he ended up completely blind. Louis went to a school for the blind to try to learn to read, but it was very hard. There were only 14 books in the whole school, and they weighed 20 pounds each. I'm sure some of your backpacks don't even weigh that much with school books. The letters in these special books were just like regular letters, except much larger and puffed up from the page. Imagine having to feel the letter W with your fingers, or the letter R, or the letter A, and how long it would take to feel a whole word. But things changed when Louis was 15. A man named Charles Barbier, some of these names I'm just not entirely sure, Barbier, I think, invented a writing system using raised dots on paper. His soldiers needed to be able to read in the dark so the enemy wouldn't see them. So what we don't know is exactly what time frame this is, but he apparently was in charge of some soldiers who needed to be able to send messages without being able to read them at night. So he needed to be able to have his soldiers read the messages in the dark, but also so that the enemy couldn't read it. So it had to be kind of a message that was a code. So Mr. Charles, we'll say his name that way, brought his system to the school that Louis was attending. When Louis saw it, he knew it was too complex, so he improved the system by making it simpler. Finally, there was a way for the blind to read, and it is named for the boy who figured it out, the Braille system. And if you ever get the chance, I encourage you, if you can find a book in Braille, or at least something in Braille, try and figure it out. You'll be surprised. Even some bathrooms, when it says boy or girl, there's Braille underneath it, raised dots. And when you put your finger across it, if you know the letters, you can read it. It's kind of fun to learn. I've learned a little bit, but it's hard sometimes. So, if you close your eyes for 15 minutes, you will discover that being blind can be scary and dangerous. I mean, just try, carefully I should say, just try it sometime where you walk around your house with your eyes closed. You'll bump into things, I'm sure, or knock into people, or fall over things. It can be dangerous and somewhat scary. You need someone to help you. And God says in the Bible, I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. That's from Isaiah chapter 42, verse 16. Not to say that God's just going to lead you around in very strange ways, but the fact that He's going to lead you. That's it. He's going to lead you. Even if you aren't blind physically, we're still blind in our spirit because we are sinful creatures and we don't know what we do sometimes. But God has the mercy and the graciousness to help us and to guide us so that we aren't stumbling over the things all the time in a spiritual sense, and He can help us as we discover more about Him. You can depend on God to lead you down the paths He wants you to take, even if there are times that you can't see or understand what He's doing. He will lead you by what he says in his word, the Bible, and also by what older Christians teach you. Your mom, your dad, or Sunday school teachers, or your pastor. God will never let you get lost. He will always know exactly where you are, and he will be watching over you. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about Braille, but also about how God is very merciful and how he helps us even when we don't know what's happening next. And especially right now, we don't know exactly what's going on, but God does, and he will guide us through all of it. So, hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you on Sunday. Bye, guys!